guess first off, how does it feel to to assume the new position, and also, do you see any changes in your approach when it comes to your new role?
Yeah, it's been a great transition for me. So far, it's been pretty smooth. Been fortunate to was in that room last year. Nick always talks about mastering your role. So that was something I took to heart as a young coach. He does a good job of developing young coaches as well. So just done everything I could the past 2 years to help this team win, and fortunate to start kind of building those relationships with Jalen and the other quarterbacks the last few years. So it's been smooth so far.
That sort of ecosystem you sort of grew up. Nick has coached the position. Shane played it, coached it. Ryan played it, coached it. How fortunate do you feel to be in this sort of environment?
Yeah, it's awesome. And part of that was I had previous relationships with those guys. So, played for Nick in 2012, played for Shane in Cleveland, Mike, Kevin. So, it's really fortunate to be around those guys the last few years and learn from them and just kind of soak up as much knowledge as I could.
You were in the league so long and didn't play a whole lot.
Didn't play much at all, yeah.
At what point did coaching kind of arrive on your radar as something that you really wanted to pursue?
Yeah, knew pretty early on. When I was just finishing college, I thought, hey, this is probably something I want to do. And then probably by year 2 or 3 in the NFL, I kind of hit home like, hey, I know this is what I'm going to do. So at that point, like I said, I didn't play much, but I played for a lot of different teams. So got to build relationships with a lot of different coaches, and started just kind of putting feelers out at that time. When I was playing for somebody, I'd always bring up, hey, I know I want to get into coaching, because I knew that eventually that could help me down the line, kind of break through and get on a staff.
How would you describe your personal philosophy when it comes to coaching quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's similar to what I was just saying a second ago. I was with 8 teams in 9 years. I think it's 12 head coaches, 12 offensive coordinators. So just a little bit different perspective, I think, than, some coaches, just so many different philosophies. And I think just seeing things that maybe in a different lens than others, and just trying to share that experience that I have with the guys in our room. So, yeah.
We've seen a lot of backup quarterbacks in the NFL go on to be really successful NFL coaches. Do you think there's a reason for that?
Yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily pin that down. Playing the quarterback position, you have to know what's going on everywhere. You know what I mean? So you have to understand what where the point is in protection or in the run game, the route concepts, the route discipline that Nick's always talking about, and then you got to worry about the things on your plate with your footwork and your mechanics and your how you're reading certain progressions. So I just think that there's so much on your plate playing that position that it just gives you a little jump start when you get into coaching, because you're somewhat familiar with having to understand all the things that are going on in a certain play.
Who were some of the coaches or older teammates who had a profound impact on?
Coach Shula and Shermer in New York, really close with Coach Shula. He left a really good impression on me. Played with Eli, played with Andrew Luck, played with Hasselbeck, played with McCown. Tons of really fortunate to play with so many good coaches, but also so many good players that, when I was a young player, I always said, hey, I want to pick his brain and take something from his game and apply it to mine. Or I'm going to study, the best vet, whoever that guy was. If I would have been playing for this team, I would study what Kelsey's doing. What those guys are playing for so long at a high level for a reason. Let's, study them and try and figure that out, why, and apply that to my routine or my game. So I think that helped me once I transitioned.
Having been around so many great players, coaches, and now being around Jalen the way you are, what makes him special? What stands out about him?
Yeah, all the really good ones are similar in a lot of ways, and a lot of that's just their demeanor. And throughout the course of a season, throughout the course of a game, everything's kind of going up and down, and those guys they're just like that, and they don't flinch, whether they throw an interception or a touchdown, we win or lose. their preparation, their routine, the details, all the same every week. And he has that, and it's one of the reasons he's such a special player.
You mentioned Eli. A lot of the traits, the work ethic can be the same, but, they're different players. Jalen Hurts, Eli Manning,
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just said it's one of the reasons, right? Yeah, it's not the reason.
How difficult is it sort of to toggle back and forth? You got Tanner now, who's more of a traditional drop back passer. How difficult is it to sort of toggle back from the individuality of each quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think it's a requirement to have a similar style of play. It certainly doesn't hurt. There's some value to it, but our offense is so multiple. We have so many good players on our team that you can win in a lot of different ways. And the number one trait for a backup quarterback is a guy that's not necessarily going to get any reps throughout the week, and be able to step in on Sunday and operate, and have guys trust him, and because the starter's able to kind of work out the kinks throughout the week, and there's so many new plays going in and on a game plan throughout the week, and the backup doesn't have the ability to go out there and rep those. So I think that's one of the most important things. But like you're saying, it helps, but it's not a necessity.
You assumed Jim Bob some of his responsibilities last year in terms of, I guess, pre-scouting. I'm sure you did it before, but how did that prepare you for this, or in terms down the road of being kind of a coordinator?
Yeah, Nick does a really good job of, giving different tasks to the entire staff, and it's kind of a collaborative effort. And guys trying to come up with as many ideas as possible and throw them into the wall, and then seeing what sticks, and then be able to put those in throughout the week. But it's similar to what I said earlier with Nick. Of he was giving me projects or whatever it was, trying to develop me, and I necessarily didn't realize it at that time. But all those things that he had me do have really helped. Now that I'm in the position I am now.
We'll do a couple more. We'll get AJ in next.
He's mentioned before about giving projects to a lot of the lower level assistants. What's the toughest one he's thrown at you?
I don't know if I can necessarily think of like a certain topic, but I mean, there's times where it's in the evening or something, or my first year, and he's like, "Hey, knock this out for tomorrow." So you're kind of in a crunch, So that kind of that teaches you how to manage time, and also break down whatever you're trying to break down. And give the detail that, he's such a detailed person, give the detail required that'd be a sufficient enough answer for him. So I think that taught me a lot.
What's your relationship like with Jalen, and does it change just by the nature of you having a different spot?
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed a whole lot. That's what's, the first year I was here, wasn't permanently in that room, but was able to kind of establish a relationship with him. And then last year being in there, getting to know him better and better. So that's certainly a positive headed into this year. It's not like I'm stepping into a room, not knowing the guy at all. But just seeing the way he works, the time he puts in, kind of his routine, his process, is certainly going to be valuable for me. Just trying not to change that too much. Just kind of putting my spin on it, but also staying true to to what's been working for him.
Has Marcus been able to call you coach yet?
Yeah, no, I don't think he has, to be honest with you. And obviously I have a great relationship with him. Spent 3 years with him when I was in Tennessee when he got drafted there. So, yeah, he still calls me Sticks half the time. I was number 11. That was always my nickname. So I'm fine with that. I don't really care.